Hello and welcome to Taking You to School with Dr. Tom Prichard. I am your host, JP John Posh from the Two Man Power Trip. Of course, joining me, the star of the show, the former WWE World Tag Team Champion, the Doctor Desire himself, Dr. Tom Prichard. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great, John. How about you?
Not too bad. Not too bad at all. Can't complain in this crazy place we call the world, but not too bad.
Yeah, it is a little crazy, man. I don't know what to think of it either, but I'm doing pretty good.
Now, how's everything going at JPWA?
JPWA is going swimmingly. It's we just had some promos tonight, and everybody was good.
Nice. Hello to David Studeman. David Studeman. Hello, David. Nice. Hello
David,
to David. Yes. Now,
cool.
we were mentioning to you before about Dark Side of the Ring. Are you all caught up on Dark Side of the Ring?
Well, I saw the Chris Adams one this morning. So, am I caught up?
Yes. Oh, and you saw Chris Colt, right? Yes. So, yeah, I believe you are all caught up on Dark Side. Nice.
Okay. Yeah. So I saw Chris Colt too. Yes.
Immediately have a Chris Adams question for you, by the way.
What's that?
ATF, how many Chris Adams super kicks would it take to equal the force and devastation of a punch from the hands of Stone, Ronnie Garvin? ATF Media.
At least two. At least two Chris Adams super kicks, and they would equal the hands of stone.
Even though that kick knocked out somebody's eye, apparently, the super kick.
Yeah, how about that? I mean, yeah, Chris could be pretty vicious.
Hello, Jason. Hello.
Well, hello, Jason. Yes, the week is treating me tremendous. And Ibsen,
Hello, Ibsen. The modern day cowboy himself, Mitch Miller. Happy Wednesday.
and it is Wednesday, isn't it?
Yes. Phil. Another week has flown by. That is true. They go faster and faster. Older you get,
They
they go
they
faster and
can't
faster.
fly by fast enough for me, John. I tell you.
Interesting question here from Scorch. Dr. Tom, what are your thoughts on Tony Khan begging the audience to stay in the arena to watch Ring of Honor after AEW Collision was over?
Is that the case? Is he
Yeah, I saw
going?
the video. Somebody was recording it, fan just recording from his phone, and he was
Right?
begging the fans to stay after the
Did,
taping.
did they stay?
No, it looked like the place was almost empty. It was crazy how empty it was.
So why are they taping Ring of Honor after AEW?
I don't know. They used to tape it down at first in Florida at a small soundstage there. Now they're
Right?
trying to get it in after AEW for some reason.
Sounds insane. I mean, how long does AEW go? 2 hours, 3 hours?
Yeah, Collision is 2 hours.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a long time. After you've been watching a bunch of that same crap, then you want to watch more of that same crap.
Crazy. Dell makes another good point here. He said, according to some sources, Tony Khan came out 4 separate times at Collision to plead his case with the audience to remain in their seats for ROH. I only saw the one time, but I'm sure there was more.
Well, that's pretty crazy. I mean, if you when you got to start begging the people to stay, you know something's wrong. My opinion.
Right? Isn't that a bad thing? Do you think Vince would ever have done that? Not maybe people say, "Oh, it's a bad analogy," but the Vince, the promoter, would he ever come out and do that?
I don't think so. I think they would do something to keep the people there. They would do an angle or do something to keep the people there. I mean, you don't come out and just say, "Hey, please stay and watch more of our stuff." They couldn't do an angle. I don't know. I don't know what they need to do, but it sure sounds crazy.
Barbara, hope we're having a good week. Sorry I'm late, she says. Sorry I'm late.
It's all right, Barbara. Good to see you too, even though we can't see you.
She said she's really shocked to learn Chris Adams out of the ring lifestyle. Did Dr. Tom ever party with him? No idea he was so violent.
Yeah, I partied with Chris when he first came over to LA, 1980. We were tag partners, and yeah, I got a whiff of how Chris could be when he was drinking. Not real violent back then, but I think he's one of those people that alcohol adversely affected. We call them blackout drunks. And on Dark Side of the Ring, you said you could see the glowing red eyes.
Yep.
Yeah, he got a different look in his eyes when he drank.
Yeah, that's what Kevin Von Erich was saying. Demon eyes, he called them.
Yeah, yeah, and that's kind of scary. That's real scary to be around somebody like that when they flip the switch
Yep.
and go into blackout mode.
I have a friend who's like that, but he turns into Beaker from the Muppets, where you can't understand a word he says, and he goes into like,
Oh,
yeah. So not too bad. But Adams, I mean, man, some of those stories are crazy. Kicking the guy's eyeball out,
yeah.
like,
So that you know, I know the kids at the end of it said, well, if somebody would have come to him and said maybe going too much or doing too much, he would have stopped. I don't know if that's the case, because he had a lot of things happen in life.
yeah,
So I don't know if he would be able to stop or kind of tone it down a little bit. He was that kind of guy, and sometimes there are those unfortunate souls who just don't have a chance, and he was one of those guys.
if he's not recognizing it himself, nobody else is going to be able to get him to stop.
Well, yeah, you got to want to stop, and I don't know if anybody really did talk to him and saying, "Hey, you're doing too much." When especially at that time, everybody was probably doing too much around Dallas and that area. One of the stories that I think King Parsons told was about the room where they went in and had bricks of cocaine and cops at the door, and they said, "What about the cops?" And the cops just looked away. Said they're getting paid $500. They just turned their head. I thought, yeah, man, that's Dallas. So when you got that going on, kind of hard for people to say, "Hey, you're doing too much."
Yeah, I mean, it's almost par for the course, sadly enough. Some of that partying.
Yeah, and that really took its toll on everybody, especially during those days.
Magazine saying, I thought the segment on Chris Adams and Beyond the Mat was a bit depressing, but I had no idea he had such a scary dark side.
Well, sometimes it takes seeing this stuff or talking to people who were there to kind of open your eyes and say, yeah, it was a scary side of Chris. Nice enough guy when he was sober and not drinking, but not understanding what happens when you black out can be a terrible thing, So he had no idea.
Crazy. Interesting from Ibsen here. This is what we were talking about before we came on about the Undertaker and how he was having closure. Ibsen saying the Undertaker said the appearance at Mania was full circle, and he was happy that the moment that he wanted to have his career end and not the Boneyard match that had no one there. Basically, he wanted to have a closure moment, a final moment at WrestleMania in front of the fans, not necessarily wrestle, but have a closure moment. And obviously, choke slamming The Rock was that moment for him, night 2 WrestleMania.
Well, and as I said too, good for him. Uh, and he got to choke slam the Rock, and what a better way to close it out. Good for him.
Do you agree that that's full circle? That the under
Sure.
is that the end of the Undertaker?
I don't know if you can ever say never. You know, that's one of those things that you just don't know. But maybe it is. Maybe it's enough.
Have you noticed the Saudis absolutely love him and will pay him to go over there just for like no reason? For a
Yeah.
soccer match, he goes out and he's like they pay him like UFC. He goes over and for UFC. I mean, he's over there all the time. So who knows? Maybe they'll give him like I don't know, 200 grand, 250 grand for one match, and he does it in Saudi. Who knows?
What about 250 million or 2 million? For a
Oh, or
match.
2 million, yeah, or
Two
whatever. I mean, it's
million.
going to be
Yeah.
yeah, it's going to be a lot of money. Yeah, it's probably in the million,
Yeah.
probably million. Yeah.
So yeah, I think Taker's going to be doing okay. Doesn't have to do a whole lot of physicality. Just go out and be a Taker.
He's saying the Boneyard match was a great way to end his career.
Well, yeah, but if you want to do it in front of 70,000 fans, WrestleMania 40 was a good way to do it.
Did you like the Boneyard match?
Yeah, I liked it.
I thought it was awesome. That was
Yeah.
probably the best match of that Mania by far. Yeah, I love that match. The Metallica coming in on the motorcycle, very cool stuff. He was like an old cowboy, an old gunslinger coming in for one last fight against this young punk.
Well, he's always been an old cowboy gunslinger. So
Oh
that's
yeah,
what the Undertaker is.
and you're gonna love this because Bo has a great point here. The King of Kingsport, Doctor Tom, you look like you have a great tan from obviously from Florida.
Okay.
Did you get a great tan in Florida? Is that true?
No, we don't have time to go out and tan. No, those are those 18-hour days.
How was that? How was the NWA down there?
NWA was good. Busy, but good. You
Was
know?
Billy there or no?
Yeah.
Oh, so he's there at almost all the shows now.
Billy Corgan.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, he
okay.
was there. Yeah.
Nice. Did Jim Cornette, aka Corny, mention to you that he's happy that the WB is mentioning pro wrestling on TV again?
No, he didn't mention that to me, but I bet he is, and I bet there's a lot of people who are happy about it. But no, I haven't really talked to Jim about that. So, but I'm sure he'd be happy about it.
That is funny that Michael Cole's like, damn it, pro wrestling is back. He said, and I love pro wrestling. They kept saying pro wrestling, pro wrestling. Not a dirty word.
Do you really think Michael Cole loves pro wrestling?
Hard time believing it, but he probably loves saying that because he wasn't ever allowed to say pro wrestling for you. Say sports entertainment.
Yeah, I think he's just happy to say whatever they tell him to say. That's my opinion about Michael Cole. But
He seems like he has more free reign though now. Like him and McAfee cracking jokes back and forth. It just seems like he's got some more free reign now that might not have a certain voice in his ear anymore.
maybe he does. And Hunter is an old school guy. And no doubt he's done a great job. Really has.
I've talked to like Todd Pettingale and a couple announcers before about having Kevin Dunn in their ear.
Yeah.
He seems like quite the prankster, and stuff. Todd Pettingale was telling me a lot of funny stories. He would say basically jokes in his ear and try to get him to laugh or try to pop him and stuff. And like,
Well, I could see that too, but there was a lot of cussing going on too.
oh, that too, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of screaming and yelling and swearing and mother this and mother that. And so, those were the old days. Today's what is it? The Renaissance era. We talked about that last week about.
Yeah, the Renaissance era, yeah, or the
Yeah,
new era, if you
yeah,
will. Yep.
same
Roll
thing.
me one Kenobi. Hey to you both. Love that name.
Roll me one.
Murphy Costigan just wanted to say cheers to Dr. Tom for all the help he's given to me. Murphy.
Well, here's hoping I can give you more help, Murphy, going forward. I'm in your
Miss
side.
Miss Tony. Good evening, gentlemen. What a shame Chris Adams' demons caught up with him. Otherwise, a great worker.
Yeah, but you have to understand the '80s. There were a lot of guys who had demons and blackout drunks and things like that. I just think that that Dallas territory got so much press, so much of a spotlight on it that it really kind of shone through. When the Von Erichs were hot, man, everybody was hot there. It was crazy. So it was a shame Chris's demons caught up with him, but they caught up to a lot of people at that time.
It stinks when you see like the guy's broke. You know what I mean? He's living with that guy who ends up killing him or in self defense. So they
Yeah.
say. But it sucks. I mean, he's that broke. He has to live with a fan. I mean, just crazy.
Well, yeah, Boo Ray was one of those guys that I don't know Boo Ray, but I know him from seeing him on documentaries and stuff. He was one of those guys that kind of hung around the boys and got the boys whatever they want, I guess. And yeah, it does kind of wind up being sad.
Dave Cole. Hey, John, Dr. Tom. Hope all's well. Remembering watching Chris Adams perform, and he was a great performer. However, when the haircut storyline was going on, he looked like he wasn't right at that time. What are your thoughts?
Well, he was probably in the throes of his addiction at that time, so I don't know what was and wasn't right because everybody was kung fu fighting at that time and partying and doing everything that you do or you did back in the '80s. It was a crazy time for wrestling. It was a crazy time for the business. There was a lot of a lot of stuff going on, and not just in wrestling. I think it was society as a whole.
Man, him and Gino Hernandez, what a team! But if you think about it, off screen or off camera, maybe not the best combination. The dynamic duo, it sounds like two, powder keg is about to go off.
Well, yeah, I don't think it was the most healthy alliance going, but they were a hell of a team, and they obviously got along outside the ring too. So um, both of those guys had demons, and Demon caught up with Gino first, and then Chris.
Here's an Undertaker question for you, and you should know this. Who came up with the Undertaker gimmick? Was it Bruce Prichard, aka Brother Love, or was it Paul Heyman? Both take credit.
Well, I think both should get credit. I think they both came up with that.
Really, I heard. I've always heard it was just Bruce that came up with it, and they had the creative services do the design and the picture of it, and that Vince was like in love with it because Bruce kind of came up with it.
Okay, then it was Bruce.
Oh, all right.
I'll say that. Okay, it's Bruce. Sure.
That's just what I've always heard, and
how about Ronnie Garvin? It was Ronnie Garvin. The hands just only came up with it. I don't know.
interestingly enough, ATF does
Well,
have a
Paul
question.
Heyman. I think Paul Heyman was the guy who kind of turned Bruce on to Mark Calloway, but
Yeah,
I've heard the other way too, that Bruce had been watching Mark on TV and saw him as potential, and maybe they talked to they were talking with each other back in those days. So
yeah, it feels like everybody kind of liked him or thought they had potential, except for Ole Anderson, who said this guy will never draw a dime in this business.
right. Well, I remember when Jerry Jarrett told the Ultimate Warrior and Sting they would never draw a dime. They had to quit the business. I was there when that happened.
Just a hair off on
Yeah,
that one. Just
just a little
smidge,
bit.
yeah, a little bit off. And
Yeah.
Ole Anderson, ooh, could have been more wrong. Ouch.
Well, we all make mistakes.
Here's ATF, by the way. Speaking of Ron Garvin, but not a Garvin question. He said, "Did any wrestlers purposely fart during a match, or were known for farting, whether intentional or not?"
Well, there have been a few times. I mean, I know Andre used to like to fart on people.
Yes, yes.
Yes. So, and then there have been a few guys who got in the ring and either farted or their gear just stunk to high heaven,
Always heard
which is
Vader
terrible.
did have
Huh?
Vader. I always heard did not wash his gear.
Yeah. A lot of guys didn't wash their gear.
Edwin Robles, hello, sir. Tom Prichard.
Very
He's
nice,
doing
Edward.
the old Ed McMahon, Johnny Carson. He's doing the
Nobody
long.
knows who Ed McMahon or Johnny
Oh,
Carson are these days. Nobody. But I
oh,
will,
okay.
I will tell you this: you need to watch some of those old clips with Dean Martin, was just walking on the set with Johnny Carson, Joey Bishop,
Yes,
and yeah, that was classic TV.
Dean Martin is great, and actually, Dean Martin is actually a pretty good actor. He's in a couple John Wayne movies. He's actually a really good actor.
Well, yeah, and talk about blackout drunks.
Oh well, that too. Yeah, yeah,
Sure.
yeah. Yep.
So
Good way to bring that all together. Question about Wildfire Time of Rich here. Dr. Tom and Wildfire Time of Rich, do you guys hang out while in Florida, go clubbing together? Are you still close? Thank you.
I don't think Tommy's in Florida right now, is he? Or is he? Is Tommy in Tampa? I
Doesn't
thought
he live in
Tommy was in
Georgia?
Myrtle Beach. I thought he was in Myrtle
Oh, Myrtle
Beach.
Beach. Okay. I'm wrong
Yeah.
too. Okay.
No, we didn't hang out, but yeah, anytime I see Tommy, we get together and
Did he ever
reminisce, if you will.
did he ever say that he wanted to get fired up?
Well, every day I saw him, he's going to get fired. Wildfire getting fired up is kind of like waking up in the morning, going out to your car, get your gun, shoot, and fire up. Yeah.
Did he like doing the fake Italian gimmick in ECW? Obviously for pure comedy reasons, but did he enjoy that gimmick?
I'm sure he did because he stayed there for a while. And, he got to do it with Tracy and some guys he liked. So, yeah, I'm sure he did. We never discussed it, but I would go out on a limb and say he liked it.
Modern day cowboy, Mitch Miller, he's back. I never knew Gino and Chris were a tag team. Do you think Chris was a better singles wrestler or a tag wrestler?
I thought he did both very, very well. And I teamed with Chris in LA when I first started too, and he was a good tag partner. But I thought he did both very well. Him and Gino were a great team, and he could also do it on the singles front.
Did you work at Chris Adams?
I don't think we ever worked against each other. No.
What did you think of him in WCW? I know they were talking about how he wasn't happy with his role then. Obviously, a veteran of the ring when '97 rolls around. But what did you think? Did you think they were going to do anything with him, or strictly going to be an
No,
enhancement guy?
no, I think he got the job, and then he had already had the previous things that have happened in Dallas, and it was more of a, I don't know if it was a favor to somebody or what, but it was obvious he wasn't going to get too big of a push. Couldn't trust what was going to happen with Chris.
If you think about all the stuff that he was, doing behind the scenes, he beat up people, beat up his own wife at one point. He's doing all this crazy extracurricular activity. He's lucky they gave him the job, so like he should have kind of been happy, but he wasn't happy. He's losing a Macho Man and the Giant, all these guys.
Yeah. So I mean, I can understand not being happy, but at the same time, he brought it on himself. They just couldn't trust him.
When Gino died, did that shake up a lot of wrestlers and motivate them to get sober? Thank you.
Well, I know it shook up a lot of the boys, and it should have motivated everybody to get sober, but unfortunately, it didn't. Guys were still doing what they were doing.
David Tebow says, "Don't trust a word that lady says." David Tim Tebow. I wonder if he's talking about Barbara right now. I have to get some clarification
Couldn't
on that.
couldn't be talking about Barbara. She knows what she's talking about.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
TT Warrior 1. If AEW signed Jamie Dundee, it would be ratings gold.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome if Jamie Dundee signed with AEW. Yeah, me too.
I would love it. Shake things up a little bit. Have some great promo work. I actually just interviewed him a few weeks ago.
Wow.
Great guy. And I actually received a text from him yesterday. And he said, "Hey, what were you doing 33 years ago on this day?" And I said, "I have no clue." And he's like, "I was with Steve Austin. I was beating up my dad." I said, "Wow, it's amazing." And he sent me the poster. And I saw he posted online later on in the day. But I was like, what is he getting at? What happened 33 years ago? Then pretty cool. He was 19. He was with Steve Austin in Memphis, or USWA, if you will. And they were working Bill Dundee. So interesting. God, 33 years ago. Phew.
It's a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a long time.
Did you like Jamie Dundee? Did you get along?
Yeah, I like Jamie. Jamie, every time I see him, he repeats something I told him a long time ago. Sometimes it's better to remain silent and be thought of an idiot rather than speak up and remove all doubt. I mean, I always remember he reminded me, so I'll never forget you telling me. Sometimes it's better to shut up and be an idiot and to speak up and remove all doubt about being an idiot. So something like that, Jamie. Kind of something like that.
You're right, and he's right to bring that up. I love that stuck with him. I love that.
Yeah, it stuck with him. Yeah, I've known Jamie since he was a kid too.
Sometimes you never know what's going to stick with people, so that's pretty good.
Well, I'll tell you, I've had some stuff told to me that it stuck with me forever.
ATF, I could believe Hand of Stone Ronnie Garvin came up with the Undertaker gimmick. He probably saw one of his punching victims in a coffin and a light went off. That's interesting.
That's exactly what happened, by the way. I remember when Ronnie came up with the Undertaker gimmick. We were sitting around 5 guys having a burger. Ronnie says, "Hey, you know what? I think I'm going to come up with a gimmick with Mark Callis and make him the Undertaker. What do you think?" Because he's Canadian, so he says yes. Tank instead of think.
Yes, I like that.
Sure.
Phil saying that he knows Johnny Carson, Johnny and Ed. They were the best. He also says Gorilla and Bobby. Gorilla Monsoon, Bobby Heenan, best comedy team.
Well, the majority don't know who Johnny and Ed were. I mean, the majority don't know. I don't know the real good TV shows back then. There's some really good TV shows back then.
Oh yeah. Scorch, Dr. Tom, what would you think about a modification to the Freebird rule that would allow any two members of a six-man stable to defend their tag team title?
Well, who are the members of the six-man stable besides New Day? But I think that'd be good. That'd be a good amendment to the rule or a
Are you
modification to the rule.
are you a fan of the Freebird rule in general? Do you like that three-man team, but any two of them can defend the tag team titles?
Yeah, I like that.
In
I
your
do like that.
in your opinion, or in your favorite order, maybe how would you rank the Freebirds in order? Like P.S. Hayes, Gordy, Buddy Jack.
Well, you started out with Michael and Terry, and that's how I first met him. Buddy came along afterward. So I'm going to have to go with Michael and Terry and then Buddy Jack. So,
So you think
Michael,
Michael?
because, well, Michael, all due respect, he was the guy that put together things, and he was more of a business guy, or let me say, stooge. Than Terry and Buddy were. So he
Yeah.
understood how to do business and how to make it work. He still does.
But that in the ring, Terry Gordy's got to be
In the ring, yeah.
uno.
Terry,
He's
Terry
the
was number
best.
one.
Yeah,
Yes.
he's the best.
Yes.
Miss Tony. I remember watching Johnny Carson show when it wasn't a school night. I still watch the old reruns. Also, the dynamic duo were an excellent tag team. To this day, I still enjoy watching their old matches.
Well, both Johnny Carson and the dynamic duo were awesome. I agree.
The dynamic duo. Did you ever work Gino?
Yes.
Oh, you did. How was he?
Gino was great. Gino was great.
Did you ever party with Gino? I know we said Chris Adams, but did you ever party with Gino?
Yes.
Oh, you did?
Yes, I did.
Who was crazier behind the scenes?
Chris or Gino?
Yeah.
Chris. Gino could maintain a little better. He could maintain. Keep his cool.
Jason, Jack Penny said while on Johnny Carson's show that he only drinks when he was nervous and that he's always nervous. That day he was a wreck. Good line there. Good line.
Right. Exactly. So,
if Gino was still alive, he would have been in the WWF, in my opinion. Do you agree with that?
If Gino was alive, he would have been the $1 Million Man, because that's who Gino was. Gino was dressed to the nines everywhere he went. He sure wasn't cheap. And yeah, he would have been the $1 Million Man.
I always heard a rumor that he was going to go to NWA JCP and that he would have been in the Four Horsemen with Tully.
Well, that might have happened if Gino wanted it to happen, but Gino, I think, was content staying in Texas with the Von Erichs and doing his thing. So he had a pretty good deal in Dallas. And I don't think he wanted to leave that.
I do think he fit the Horseman well because, man, just the promos, the working, the way he talked, the way he walked, the way he carried himself in and outside the ring, felt like a Horseman-esque character or like a $1 Million Man. Like, this guy's dressed to the nines and he always has a pretty lady in his arm and stuff like that.
Yeah, Gino definitely would have fit in there. Definitely would have been a Horseman.
Good evening from Eric Tate.
Eric?
Another great Dr. Tom line is get a dog named Life and you'll have one. Wow, nice.
Get a dog, name it Life, and then you'll have one.
Yes, get a dog, name it Life, and you'll have one. Yep, there you go.
Yeah,
yep.
Those are for people who have nothing else better to do except critique and criticize everything they come in contact with because it's not their idea.
I've heard you use that line on Bo James before, by the way.
Maybe I have.
Yep.
Could have.
Get a dog, name it Life, so you'll have one. That's a good one. I'm going to have to remember that's a good line.
It's a great line.
Do you think Cody Rhodes needs a manager, or is he fine by himself?
I think Cody is fine just by himself. He can do it.
Yeah, at this point, I don't think he'll need a manager. Are you liking that he is the man now? Are you buying him as the man?
Yeah, I just want to see who he's going to fight next. He's got Jay Uso or Jimmy Uso coming
No,
up.
either AJ or LA Knight. Jey Uso is fighting Damian Priest,
Oh, Damian Priest. Okay, that's right. I knew he worked for one of the titles. That's Damian Priest. Okay.
and
So,
it looks like Jimmy Uso was taken clean out the game. Looks like he'll be out. Solo Sikoa and the debuting Tama Tonga, the new bloodline, took Jimmy Uso out.
by orders of the tribal chief, I assume.
Yes.
Yes.
But the only thing was, how did Roman relay the orders if he's the tribal chief? Heyman didn't know about it, and his phone was destroyed by Solo Sikoa. So
That
how did he get the
bastard.
orders? How did he get the
Well,
orders?
I think an Uber driver brought him like written orders.
Yeah, but maybe that means that The Rock is now the tribal chief, or so Solo thinks,
It could
or
be.
or Solo's doing it on his own.
Well, there's a lot of intrigue no matter what.
And I just saw Roman Reigns is going to be out probably for few months, relaxing. But he's also filming a movie with Keanu Reeves.
Wow. Good for him.
Yeah, so which I didn't know, but I knew The Rock was going to be filming a movie. I know John Cena's filming a movie. I didn't know Roman was getting involved in Hollywood.
Well, it's only natural.
Yeah.
I mean, you should get into Hollywood. Give it a try.
How happy are you to see Haku's son in the WWE? What should he do to get over quickly?
I think let it take its course. I think he'll be fine. I really do. I think he'll be fine.
Were you surprised that he debuted so quickly? Sometimes they send guys to NXT when they aren't in the WWE system. Were you surprised at all?
You talking about Tama Tonga?
Yeah.
No, I wasn't surprised. I had heard or read that he was leaving Japan anyway,
Yep.
and it only made sense once the switch was happening with Hunter and the attitude change and everybody going to that side. No, it's nothing really surprised me anymore. Hunter's open to stuff as long as it's good for business, and I think it's great for business.
And
It
obviously,
brings new blood into it.
Tama Tonga doesn't need NXT. I mean, he's been around the block a while. He's been a top guy in
Right,
New Japan for a while. He doesn't need that. Yeah.
right. So let him come in and get the spot, get it over.
I saw some people online were like questioning how he's bloodline. I was like, oh my God, he's Haku's son, for Christ's sake.
Right.
And they consider Haku, who was obviously first row in the Hall of Fame. They consider Haku family, and Rikishi calls him cousin, Rock calls him cousin. So he's
Right.
a part of the family. He's bloodline,
Exactly.
and
So
obviously his son it would be in it as well.
yeah, makes perfect sense.
Somebody had a cool picture when Rikishi and Haku were a tag team WWE in 2001. They had their picture, and then they had Solo and Tama together. So it's like, oh, that was a cool picture of those four guys.
Yeah. And they really have been running the business in WWE, so it makes perfect sense.
Very intrigued by that because if Roman's not around, how could you make the bloodline interesting? Boom, Tama Tonga debuts. Now I'm interested, and now I'm wondering what the hell's going on. He destroyed Heyman's phone. They're making him put up the one. They're saying the tribal chief, but Heyman doesn't know. I mean, very interesting stuff as far as being able to make it interesting without Rock or Roman around.
Well, I think Jacob Fatu's waiting in the wings too to come out. And when he comes out, man,
Yep.
he is incredible. That guy is awesome. So I think they got it covered right now.
Yeah, I do like Jacob Fatu a lot. I just saw him not that long ago in MLW kicking ass and taking names. He was great.
Yeah, yeah. So he's done with them, and I think he's going to be next.
Another guy I don't think needs NXT. I don't think he needs any part of that.
No, they'll be fine.
Frank Nordquist. I liked when Demolition utilized the Freebird rule. It was necessary at the time because Bill Eadie had serious health problems after an allergic reaction to shellfish in Japan.
Is that true? You got an allergic reaction to shellfish?
That's what he said.
Hmm. Well, that's a shame.
The obviously Demolition was crush, axe, and smash. So you were able to have the Freebird rule and have three guys be a tag champion, which obviously it's a pretty cool idea. I like it.
Well, just thank God those Freebirds made that rule. It had somebody on the board of directors that agreed with it.
Yes, it's Freebirds. They're always ahead of the game. They're smart guys.
Of course they are.
Do you ever wonder why they didn't make it in the WWF? They were there in '84, in and out. Or were they too crazy or what?
Yeah, I think at that time they came in and, uh, I heard stories about coming in drunk and things like that. But I just think it was probably the insanity of it all, and at that time they weren't ready for it.
I did hear a rumor, if you will, that Andre was not happy with them. Ragu is saying it here as well. Andre got them kicked out. That they got in a fight, and Andre didn't like. Is that true?
I have no idea,
That's what I
but
always
it
heard.
could be.
Andre basically didn't like them. Barbara saying Andre get them fired from WWE, aka WWF. That's the rumor I heard as well, that they were almost too drunk, partying too much. They were always late, and that Andre just had enough. And if Andre has enough, they're going to probably listen to him and just get rid of them.
Yeah, probably, but I don't have any facts to back that up. I really don't know.
Their debut in '84 from Philly at the Spectrum, they're in a six-man tag. This is like huge for the time. I mean, they do that nowadays. Man, they just did it on Raw, where you follow a guy from the outside all the way to the ring. They did it with Sami Zayn on Raw. When you look at it, I was like, this is amazing. They were coming in a limo. Their music hits. The camera is immediately on them when they come out of the limo. David Wolf, Cyndi Lauper's manager, was with them. Cyndi Lauper is with them. They walk out of the limo. They're dancing, doing also like they're talking to the camera, and the camera follows them all the way to the ring while Freebird is playing. I was like, man, what a debut! They like really like them, or it seemed like Vince had a lot, good plan for them.
Well, obviously something happened that they didn't. So, but I have no idea.
Michael Hayes said he's drunk, and Hayes fell down the stairs.
Well, that wouldn't surprise me.
I
I
didn't
wouldn't be
think it would.
shocked.
Yeah.
No.
Colton Grundy, great interview. I love me some Dr. Tom.
Well, thanks, Colton.
Look at that. Yeah, it was just amazing when you look back at the Freebirds. Like, wow, the presentation of it was amazing. The Freebirds music, the limo, Lauper, and David Wolf.
Well, those guys looked the part. They were the part, and they brought music back to wrestling, I think. And what was it? Somebody said Chris Colt on the Dark Side of the Ring, brought music back, Janis Joplin or whatever it was.
Yep.
But the Freebirds did have a great presentation. Wherever they went, they looked the part. They had the ring jackets, the ring robes, the aura. I mean, they were big size guys, good sized guys, and they could work. And Michael could talk. So, I mean, yeah, it was a hell of a team, hell of a time.
And if you look at it, rock and wrestling in the '80s, who's more rock and wrestling than those three guys?
Yeah, yeah, maybe a little bit too much rock.
Barbara wants to know: did they market the Freebirds, or did Vince market the Freebirds as baby faces instead of heels?
See, I thought they had them as baby faces if you're going to come out with Cyndi Lauper and that. So
It was weird, like the presentation of it. You would assume that they're baby faces the way that they were introducing them. It seemed like they were definitely
yeah, but Michael's the natural heel.
yeah.
I mean, you just talk to him for 5 minutes, and you want to punch him in the face. Okay, I'll talk to him for 5 minutes, and I want to punch him in the face. Let me say
Right.
that. Yeah,
Right.
good.
And you have a lot of heat with Michael Hayes for some reason. It's crazy.
See, I knew you'd bite on that one.
Oh.
I knew you'd bite on that one. Yeah, there you go.
You mentioned Chris Colt, by the way. Did you enjoy that Dark Side? I felt like that one got a little crazy.
The crazy part was when he was making adult films, and the professor they were interviewing, he was the one in the gimp mask.
Yep.
I thought that was a little crazy. Where is he a professor at?
I know, right? And he was
Yeah,
like excited rewatching the tapes. Like you tell the guy's like, wait a second, is that you in the mask? The producer? And he's like,
yeah,
yeah, that's me.
yeah. So I mean, Chris had an interesting life, no doubt. I knew him in Alabama. Nice guy, but another one of the crazy ones who, if you talk to him, I don't think it would have done any good.
Is the run in Alabama like towards the end of his wrestling career, like towards the end of his run?
Yeah, yeah, it was.
So was he still good in the ring, or was he still what he was, or no?
He was still crazy. He was a Nazi back then, Chris Von Colt. So he wanted to come to the ring as a Nazi, but it was during the end, and nice enough guy. I don't know that he was that crazy, not as crazy as he once was. He was a little older, still insane, but in a good way.
What's up with the Nazi gimmick? I know they talked about it on Dark Side, but what was that all about? Where did that come from?
I think he just wanted to change his gimmick.
In the late '80s, he's doing a Nazi gimmick.
Well, of course. Is there any time do Nazi gimmicks ever go out of style? I mean,
No, no, definitely
sure,
not. You'll hear people say constantly today if they don't like their opinion, like you're a Nazi. So yeah.
sure. So he just wanted to be a Nazi gimmick.
Jason said, I missed the Chris Colt episode. I heard he freaked out on acid during a match in Phoenix. Was that mentioned?
Yeah, that was mentioned where the spiders were coming over the cage.
Yep.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yep. Weird, right? Oh my God. Imagine you're his opponent. This guy saying spiders are coming and he's got to kill the spiders and get out of there. Like crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. That was the beauty of Chris Cole, I guess.
Did you wrestle him a lot or at all even?
I don't think I wrestled Chris in Alabama. We were both heels.
Did you ever wrestle him in Portland?
No.
Did you cross paths with him in Portland?
Cross paths only with him in Alabama.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting here from Giant Gonzalez. Hello, Dr. Tom and John. Do you think Demolition will ever go into the Hall of Fame?
I sure hope so. I mean, if anybody deserves it, they deserve it. So I would hope so.
I feel like with Vince gone, I feel like more of a possibility.
Well, with Vince gone, there's going to be a lot of possibilities and a lot of guys who may breathe a little easier at night with Hunter in charge and wanting to change things and say goodbye to Vince once and for all.
Bill Belichick needs to be a wrestling manager. He's also got a face you want to punch. He'd get a lot of heat. Do you agree with that about Bill Belichick?
Yeah, if he was into it, he'd be a great manager. I think so.
I feel like he'd be awesome.
Yeah.
As far as going back just to WB for a second, I was thinking Rock is already filming a movie now. Who knows when he'll return? Maybe for SummerSlam. Who knows if that's a possibility? But people are saying he's already planning for WrestleMania 41. What would you do WrestleMania 41? Would you do him versus Cody Rhodes? Because it seems like a lot of people want to see that one-on-one match. Would you go back to Rock versus Roman? Because it may be a bloodline civil war going on. What would you do if you're Triple H booking this?
I would think Rock and Roman is where it is. That's what I think. As long as they kept it going, especially if they push Roman out and Rock is now the tribal chief. To me, that makes sense.
I do like that idea. I think that a bloodline civil war, so to speak, I think that would be kind of cool. I like the idea. I think the big money match is Rock and Roman because I think Roman is
Yeah.
the big dog. It's his era, if you will, even though it's called the Renaissance era, the new era. It's the Roman Reigns era. It's been that way since 2020. He's kind of been the reason for the big spike, and then him and Rock should be the two guys going at it.
Yeah, I think so. Where's 41 going to be held at?
Minnesota, I heard actually.
Minnesota. Okay. Well, that'll be interesting.
Interesting spot. Yeah.
Yeah. Minneapolis?
Yes, that's what I heard.
Yeah. Well, it'll be colder in Minneapolis than it was in Philly, I bet.
Oh yeah, for sure. I know Nick Khan had mentioned that he was thinking about maybe making WrestleMania later on in April, so they could do some of these colder places, and it won't quite be so cold. But you got to go like either California or Florida. You got to Texas. Got to go somewhere down south in April.
Yeah.
If you're going to do it outdoors.
Yeah, I agree. But who knows what they're going to do? It is the new era.
Yes. And the new era, by the way, is going to France, Germany, Scotland, and then they're having the big SummerSlam at the Cleveland Browns Stadium. So they got a bunch of big shows coming up.
Good for them.
Do you think that's I don't know, a sign of how hot they are that they're running all these shows in other countries?
Well, definitely. I mean, usually after WrestleMania, they go to other countries and do the WrestleMania. What is it? Backlash.
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think they're doing it because of how hot it is right now and hit while it's on fire.
I hope to see Dr. Tom into the Hall of Fame for WrestleMania 41. Get your tickets now. Long overdue. Do you agree? Hall of Fame.
Yeah, no.
Damn it.
Yeah, damn it.
Giant Gonzalez says maybe 123 Kid will be inducted into 2025 Hall of Fame in his hometown of Minneapolis. He actually is in the Hall of Fame twice.
Yeah.
With
So,
DX and the NWO. He's a two-time Hall of Famer.
So there you go. Yeah. He's already there.
It was reported today that Vince McMahon speaks to no one in the WWE, just John Cena and The Rock on a monthly basis. He came back from a vacation. He was in Italy. So Vince is on vacation. Wow.
Good for him. Yeah, he should have a vacation. He deserves a long vacation.
Have you ever heard of him vacationing while you work there?
No. So he's got plenty of time on his hands now. He can go enjoy the place. He could probably take a private plane too.
Yeah. 80 years old and never had a day off in the last 40 years. Kind of crazy.
Right. Right. If I had his money, I'd definitely vacation.
And selling all of his stock apparently too.
Yeah. Good for him.
And he's going to, I guess, get out of TKO altogether. I know he's already made a couple billion off of the sale, so at least a couple billion. So we'll see.
Well, he deserves to bask in his fortune that he made while toiling away the last 40 years plus. You know, because he did work hard to make it what it was.
Do you apparently, apparently he still talks to The Rock and John Cena. Do you have a problem with him talking to The Rock and John Cena?
No problem whatsoever.
Saw some people had issues with that. I'm not really sure why or what business it is of theirs who Vince talks to and why he does. But
yeah, why would they care?
Very, very weird. None of their business. Ibsen is saying, as far as the stock, $520 million in stock.
Well,
he actually sold so much stock; it's well over $1 billion.
Yeah, that's why I think I play the lottery because somebody's got to win, and if it's 300 million, I could live off 300 million. I could do okay with that. And Vince has 500 million in stock that he just sold, so I think he can live off that.
Yeah, he might be okay. Green and Blue been watching stories about Brody, and Rick said he was there.
Nate
said he was in Puerto Rico. Is that right? No. Is Nate losing his mind?
Possibility.
Midnight Express and Dr. Tom for Hall of Fame for WrestleMania 41. That would be amazing and long overdue.
Well, I hope they put the midnight in. That's for sure. Midnight and Jim Cornette definitely deserve to go in.
Brendan, late to the party. How's it going, guys? Hello, Brendan.
Oh, Brendan.
Does Hunter relate to the wrestlers in a different manner than Vince, being that he is an ex-wrestler?
I think he does. I think Hunter relates to the guys because he's been there and he's felt a lot of what they're feeling now, and he understands what they're going through. And I think he can relate to them being an ex wrestler.
As this is a great line here by Scorch. As long as Vince McMahon isn't talking to Janelle Grant, he should be fine. I agree.
Pull that pin, Scorch. Pull that pin. See the grenade?
Yep.
Yeah.
And throw it out there. Ibsen
Yes.
saying, what's the next one? Dark Side of the Ring. Sherry Martel is up next week.
Okay. That'll be interesting.
Yes, you have a great history with her, so very interesting to see that one.
Yeah. We'll see.
Then after that is Sandman, and then Black Saturday, where Vince takes over TBS, Georgia Championship Wrestling, back in
Wow.
in the 80s. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who do you think should get an episode of Dark Side of the Ring?
Vince.
Yes.
Sure.
Sherry should be a good one. I agree. Should be excellent. Christian Lynn, who do you think Cody will face?
Well, between LA Knight and AJ Styles, I think he's going to face LA Knight.
Really? I feel like he's going to face AJ Styles.
Okay. I think he's going to face LA Knight.
Interesting. With Cody, do you think that with no Rock and no Roman around, are we going to start to see a little bit of a doldrum here as far as the title run? Because he winning the title, super hot, everything's hot. Do we start seeing it cool down a little bit now that the two big dogs won't be around?
I don't know. I'm anxious to see what they do on this deal. I think it just remains to be seen. I hope they keep the momentum going. I really do. I just don't know the key players right now, but give them time to regroup and get in the swing of things, and they will.
Did Dr. Tom ever work with Vern Gagne and the AWA? I don't recall if he ever did.
I did not. Never worked with Vern in the AWA.
Love hearing the story that Taker thought he was going to be the gobbledygooker. What is one of the best Taker stories you could share?
Wow, I don't know if I have any Taker stories I could share. No, I'm going blank right now.
That was pretty funny that he mentioned that, by the way, that he saw the egg and obviously the gobbledygooker came out and he thought, oh my God, that might be me. Like he didn't know.
Yeah,
Thank
I can
God.
understand that.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
God he did. Ragu Overlord, I trust Cody. He knows what he is doing.
Yeah, I think he knows what he's doing. He's been
So
around
far, so
long
good.
enough.
Yeah, so far, so good with
Yeah.
Cody. Let's head towards the plugs here, Dr. Tom. Where can everybody get your book?
You can get my book at Gmail or actually jpwrestlingacademy.com. Just click on the training tab up at the top and the book will come up. And then if you want an autographed copy, you can email me at jpwrestlingacademy@gmail.com. Tell me you want an autographed copy and we'll send it to you ASAP.
As far as Twitter and Instagram, you follow me at Two Man Power Trip. You can follow Dr. Tom at Dr. Tom Prichard. Jason saying thank you. Barbara saying about the autographed book, it would be such a great gift. DB saying great show again. Thank you again, guys. Brendan's throwing in there. I think Cody and AJ could be a good match and some good stories because AJ did face Dusty. Actually, TNA, actually. Not even
TNA.
WWE, TNA, yeah.
Okay.
Modern Day Cowboy Mitch Miller, great show as always. Thank you, Mitch. But Dr. Tom, anything else going on for you in appearances in this crazy world?
Whenever I'm coming to Jersey,
May
when is
4th.
that? May 4th.
May 4th. May the
That's
4th be
coming
with
up?
you.
Yeah, May 4th. May the 4th would be. Yeah. Okay. That's that. I'm in St. Louis. Gosh, I can't remember the dates. I have to get my book. So, but yeah, we got a couple coming up. I promise I'll have them ready by next week.
Nice. Thank you, Phil. Thank you, Barbara. Thank you, Brendan. Thank you, Mitch. Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of the week, and we'll see you next time. Have a good one, folks.